Hey everybody, this is Chris DeFurio with Keys to the Shop. Welcome to another Shift Break episode. Just a short episode on Thursdays meant to give you some quick advice, tips, tools, and insights for your career and your business. Now, one of the things that a coffee business really needs to stay on top of so that they can be profitable and not waste time and money is the inventory, the ordering that you do in your cafe. And we all know that that is easier said than done. The success of your business really depends on how well controlled your inventory is and how accurate your ordering is. Thankfully, there's a company that has produced a product that will help you make this an easy process and also more accurate. And that company is our sponsor, ODEKO. ODEKO uses artificial intelligence to put your sales data to work for you, coupling past sales with local weather, events, and more to predict exactly what you're going to need in the future. Their virtual purchasing agent then automatically places orders for you based on those predictions. So this is automated, centralized, optimized ordering for your cafe or cafes. It scales with your business. So a lot of the concerns that you have when you expand your business about, systems, and how you're going to keep track of everything, ODEKO is one of the keys to that. So to try this out in your shop, just go to this website, odeko.com/keys to the shop. Make inventory and ordering a painless and accurate process. odeko.com/keys to the shop. All right, so today we're going to be talking about something that I think every team in a coffee shop should be aware of and talking about and making it a part of the way you operate as a business. And that is recognizing the need to tap out of, a position that you're in on the bar where you are normally really good. Your norm is to be, an operator, a professional, and to do well in that position. But something happens where you, for some reason, a bunch of different stressors and life events and whatnot, it happens where you just can't be in that position. You just reach the end of yourself. These are moments where we rely on each other to, I wouldn't say bail each other out. I would say assist one another in finding a better position within the shift, to lean on your team to help you get through a rough patch on the shift. Why this is something I wanted to talk about is because recently I had one of these moments on bar at Quill's. I work part-time as a barista, about 30 hours a week at Quill's Coffee here in Louisville, Kentucky. Great company, and I do the show and consulting full-time, and then barista part-time. So I get to, still have my hand in the game. That's really fun, until it's not fun. And it's not always fun because we're humans and we have weaknesses. And that was really highlighted for me the other day. There was a lot of things that were going on in my life, I guess. There are a lot of little stressors coming from every angle, from home, from work, from my own body. Like I have tendinitis in my right hand from years of not doing the right thing as a young barista. So young baristas out there, just make sure be ergonomic with the way you tamp and work. Don't try to be like this superhuman beast on the bar. Do things, treat your body gently is what I'm trying to say. Anyway, that was flaring up, so I was having to do a lot of stuff with my left hand, and I was really just annoyed at life. And I found myself on the register. People were just coming in, and you know how it is when you're already kind of annoyed and people are coming in, but they're coming in at a pace where there's no relief, where you think, okay, I'm going to go do dishes after this last person, but then a group of 5 people walks in and you're just like, oh, geez, come on. And then they end up being the type of person that really pushes your buttons and kind of puts it into high gear a little bit, where you already were is now just at a higher level of annoyance. I was right there. I was so, this is being vulnerable, but I was so ready to bite somebody's head off, seriously. And I've been there before in the past where Like, in my early years, I would say that I let myself go a lot more. I would just kind of not filter myself as much. But over the years, you learn to perform more. We call it emotional labor, of course. This is a subject that's talked about more and more, and it's stressful to sort of always be on. Yeah, but I was finding the on switch was stuck in the off position in that moment, and I was panicking, honestly, because I knew what was coming. I could feel it rising up in me. I could see the future was not looking good, and so I needed help. And I turned around and asked a coworker, "Hey, can you take register? Because I can't do people right now, right? I just can't deal with it right now." And without missing a beat, they said yes. And of course, jumped right on. Shout out to my coworker, Alex. She really bailed me out. But in that moment, what I was struck by was how easy it was once I asked the question, but how hard it was and how long it took me to actually ask it. And that's what I want to explore a little bit today. I'm really glad that I did. I was 30 minutes later, fine. The whole rest of the shift, completely fine. It was a moment in time and it passed, and I think I made the right decision. But why did it take me so long? Why did it take me like 15, 20 transactions of potentially giving bad service, before I asked the question? And I think we all deal with this pride that makes it hard for us to ask for help. Even though we know we have a team, we can give mental assent to the fact that, yes, there are other people working the shift with me. We feel like we need to carry the shift ourselves. Like we can't rely on our coworkers, because if we do, then our coworkers are going to think that we're not pulling our weight. And so I'm not going to ask them for help here or there. That's a toxic environment. And we could create that for ourselves just by thinking those things. Or we can have it created for us by unreasonable expectations from managers for perfection from every individual. This is a real issue because a lot of baristas and service staff burn out for lack of support, lack of being able to count on other people that they work with. I really hope that you have people that you can depend on in your work environment. If you don't, then there's a good resource in the episode called Losing It, I believe, titled that shift break episode, all about when we're going to lose it. This is somewhat related. We also have an episode called Harnessing Your Emotions at Work from Andrea Hoban, which is a really good one. I'll link to those two in the show notes. But if you do have a team of people and you know that they're down to have your back, we really, I think, need to rely on each other more and stop trying to do everything ourselves. Stop isolating. Stop being tyrannized by your pride. Because that's the only reason why I waited so long. Because deep down inside, I think the voice was saying, if you admit that you need help, if you tap out of this, then what's that going to look like? Oh yeah, 20 years in the specialty coffee industry. He's got a podcast and he consults. And, and now he can't work the register. Oh, these little thoughts are liars. You don't go through the coffee industry for 2 decades and emerge as this machine. You're still a person with legitimate emotions. And when everything kind of conspires against you in your life and work and whatever, you need your team more than ever. And when we're afraid of not performing well by asking for help, it's actually the opposite. The opposite is true. This is a relay race. It's not a solo race, right? You can't run a relay race just with one person. You've got a team there. And if we don't utilize that, then we're not really giving it our best. And in fact, we're running the risk of burning out, giving bad service, and that affects the rest of the team too. We need to get over our pride and be vulnerable and ask for help. Now, managers, I want to talk to you because a lot of what people think is appropriate in the moment has to do with the messaging that management gives the staff. That's either explicitly communicated or implicitly communicated. By constantly beating the drum of perfection and exactitude, you may be at first, encouraging attention to detail, precision. That's great. But by leaving out the discussion of what happens when you do feel like you're going to lose it, and what happens when you are having a really human moment, right? You are almost implying that there is no room for you to show weakness. There is no room for you to ask for help, because asking for help is a sign of weakness. We have a lot of this in coffee, mainly because we have a lot of communication issues. I would say the best thing that could happen from this episode is that you go away from here and start the conversation. Start it with your manager. Start it with your coworkers. If you're a manager, make this a part of your next staff meeting. Let people know that where we do have high standards and where we always want to keep each other accountable for those things, we also want to help each other and keep each other accountable for healthy service, right? Because it's stressful. And no matter how much experience you have, raising my hand here, you're going to need the help of somebody. And that's what this is all about. That's what community is about. And that's how we give people our best, by being the best we can for each other. And so I hope that this episode has encouraged you to have this conversation. And maybe you can just start this by being the person that helps somebody else initially, recognizing that they need help and offering it. That's a great place to start. So thank you so much for joining me. And I will see you here next week for another edition of Shift Break, from keys to the shop.